Hello students, in this video now I want to explain about the Planck's quantum theory and the black body radiations. In order to understand the Planck's quantum theory and the black body radiations, first of all we have to understand some fundamental concepts. Among them, first one of them is the dispersion of light, and second one of them is the interaction of light with the matter, and the third one of them is the relation between the observed and the complementary colors. So then after we have to study about the black body and the uh, energy release, the relationship between the energy released by the black body and the temperature. So like that we have to move on. So first of all we have to learn about the dispersion of the light. So we know very well that when a white light, that means the light that helps us to see the objects around us, is called as the white light. And when we pass that white light through a glass prism, as shown here, so look here my dears, this is a glass prism. So we are passing this white light through the glass prism. So when it is passed through the glass prism, what happens that white light dissociates into the seven different colors. Here we can see those different colors here. So they are arranged according to their wavelength or frequency. So or energy. Otherwise, either way we can call them as. Look in, they will be arranged in a particular order. So here at the bottom we are having the violet light, and at the top we are having the red light, and in between these two extremes we have the indigo color, blue color, green color, yellow color, orange color, and red color. So one popular acronym is there to remember this order, that is the VIBGR, that we know very well. VIBGR is the popular acronym that helps in remembering this order. So we know very well that violet light is highly energetic light compared to the other lights. So red light is a, what is that, lower energy light, and wavelength of the red light is very high compared to the violet light. So like that here we find a particular order. So such type of dissociation of the light when it passes through the prism is known as the dispersion of light. So then after we have to move to the interaction of the light with the matter. So when we incident light on the matter, the light may be subjected to the three phenomena. First one of them is the transmission, second one of them is the absorption, and the third one of them the reflection. That means when certain amount of light is incident on the objects, what happens, some portion of it is transformed through the other objects or other parts of the body, and some portion of that light may be absorbed by the object, and some portion may be reflected. Here there is a choice for the possibility of three phenomena, but sometimes only one of them may occur. Sometimes some substances completely observe the light, incident light, and there will be no choice for the transmission and the reflection. In some cases the light will be completely reflected. So like that there is a choice for the possibility of all these three phenomena, but one of these three or all the three may occur. Now here, depending on the color observed and depending on the color reflected, objects appear in the different colors. So here if the object observes one color, it reflects the other color very strongly, and the reflector color is called as the complementary color to the observed light, and the objects appear in the reflected color. For example, here violet, here we can see where is that? Yes. Look here, my dear. Here, yellow color is complemented to the violet light, and green color is complemented to the red light, and blue color is complemented to the orange light. And in between green and yellow, we have the yellow green. So in that similar way, we are having color between violet and red, that is known as the red violet. So yellow green is complemented to the red violet, or red violet is complemented to the yellow white yellow green color. So like that we have the observed color and different color. For example, if an object observes the violet color, then that object appears in the yellow color. This can be clearly understood by taking the example from the seventh year group elements. We know very well the seventh year group elements. Seventh year group elements are fluorine, chlorine, bromine, and iodine. Here, fluorine observes the violet color. So it appears in the yellow color. Yellow color. Chlorine observes the red color, so it appears in the green color. Bromine observes the green color, as a result it observes in the red color. Iodine observes the yellow color, so iodine appears in the violet color. Fluorine observes the violet color, as a result it appears in the yellow color. Iodine observes the yellow color, so it appears in the violet color. So beautifully here it is represented by the seventh year group elements. So an object appears in the color an object appears in the color which is reflected by that object. That point we have to remember. That means, for example, a red color object reflects we see an object in the red color if that object reflects the red light. So such relation is there between the reflected light and the color of the object. So so by this we can understand what is meant by black body. So if look here, my dears, if the incident light is completely reflected, and the object does not observe any light, then that object appears in the white color, because none of the seven colors, that means Vibgyor is observed by the object. So as a result, all the Vibgyor, that means all the lights, white light, are reflected, then that object appears in the white color. And if an object observes all types of radiations that fall on it, then automatically that object appears in the black color. So that point we have to remember here. An object that reflects all the incident light that fall on it appears in the white color. Any object that observes all types of radiations that incident on it appears in the black color. So that is the point we have to remember. And here a perfectly black body is defined as an object which observes all radiations of all wavelengths and emits all possible wavelengths, is defined as the perfect black body. But in the nature we don't have any perfect black body, but scientists created somewhat ideal black bodies in the laboratory. And here to create a ideal black body, what they did means they took a hollow metallic sphere. Look in the picture. In this picture, we can see that one. Look at a hollow metallic sphere is taken, and a small aperture, a small hole is made on in this one on the surface of this metallic sphere, and the inner surface of this hollow metallic sphere is coated with the platinum black powder. Platinum black powder. So when the light enters into this object through the small aperture, that light will undergo multiple reflection and will be completely absorbed by the substance. So such object here act as the ideal black body. But here it is not a perfect black body. It cannot absorb all types of radiations completely. So here black body, now we go for the definition once again. A metallic sphere with a small aperture on its surface and whose inner surface is coated with the platinum black powder merely act as a ideal black body. Merely act as a ideal black body. That we have to remember. Now when this black body is heated, then it emits all types of radiation that are absorbed, that can be absorbed by that object. For example, if we pass white light through the sodium vapor, then the sodium vapor absorbs the yellow light. In the similar way, when sodium vapors are heated, it emits the yellow color light. That means absorption and emission done by an object is the same. That means, for example, if an object absorbs the yellow, the color that is absorbed by an object is really the light that is absorbed by an object is released when it is heated. That means the same type of light is emitted or absorbed by an object. So by this point of view, we can say that black body emits all types of radiations when it is heated. So here such type of a black body is heated at different temperatures, and the energy densities are measured, and graphs are drawn, plots are drawn for the energy density released by that black body at the different temperatures against the wavelengths. Here on the x-axis we are taking the wavelengths, and on the y-axis here we are taking the what is that energy density. So we get this type of bell-shaped curves. Look here, bell-shaped curves. So by looking at this graph, we can understand, or we can say that the energy released at lower wavelengths and the energy released at the higher wavelengths is very less, minimum. The energy released at the lower wavelengths and the energy released at the higher wavelengths is very less. And the energy released at a medium wavelength is high. At a particular temperature, the energy released is high at a medium wavelength. That medium wavelength here is called as the lambda maximum. And second observation is that, look here, this is the temperature of the first curve is 3500 Kelvin, and this is the graph drawn at 4000 Kelvin temperature. This is at 4500 Kelvin, 5000 and 5500 Kelvin. Here by looking at this graph, we can say that as the temperature increases, the lambda maximum shifts to the lower wavelengths. That point we have to remember. So here we made two observations, that the energy released at the lower and at higher wavelengths is very less, and the energy released at a medium wavelength is maximum or very high. That medium wavelength here is called as the lambda maximum, and as the temperature increases, lambda maximum moves to the lower wavelengths. So the formation of such curves are not explained by the classical theory, but scientists try to explain these curves. So in that process, two scientists proposed two equations. First one of them is the Wien's equation. So this is the Wien's equation. Here we can see the Wien's equation. Look here, we can see this Wien's equation. That is E lambda. E means energy. E lambda means energy released at a particular wavelength. E lambda is equal to C1 into lambda to the power of minus 5 into e to the power of minus C2 by lambda t. Here C1 C2 are constants. Lambda is the wavelength of the radiation, and T is the temperature in Kelvin scale at which the experiment is conducted. And this Wien's equation is very helpful in explaining the graphs only at lower wavelengths. So this part of what is that? This part is explained by the Wien's equation, and the other part is not explained by the Wien's equation. So next what happened? Rayleigh-Jeans proposed another equation that is known as the Rayleigh-Jeans equation. That is the 2 phi c kt by lambda 4. Here we know very well that c is light velocity and k is Boltzmann constant. So energy per atom is known as the Boltzmann constant, and T is the absolute temperature. And Rayleigh-Jeans equation explains the energy distribution at higher wavelengths. Wien's equation explains about the energy distribution at lower wavelengths. Wien's equation explains the energy distribution at lower wavelengths, whereas the Rayleigh-Jeans explains the energy distribution at higher wavelengths. So no single equation is able to explain the complete graph. No single equation is able to explain the complete picture. So that's why Planck proposed a new theory which is known as the Planck's quantum theory, and with the help of the this quantum theory he was able to explain, or he was able to reproduce these graphs on the mathematical background. So that the theory is known as the Planck's quantum theory. Earlier scientists thought that energy is released by the object continuously, but here Planck made a revolutionary thought that energy is not released continuously. So that is the main revolutionary idea proposed by the Planck in his theory. Now we go for the postulates of the Planck's quantum theory. First postulate is that energy is released by the objects due to the oscillations of the charged particles. Here those charged particles are nothing but electrons. So we know very well that sound is produced by the object due to the oscillations of the objects. So when an object oscillates, it produce or generate the sound. No? In the similar way, light is produced due to the oscillations of the charged particle. Similarity is there in the production of the light as well as in the sound. Second point is that here energy is not released continuously, but it is released discontinuously in discrete amounts. Discrete amounts means in the broken amounts. So each discrete amount here is called as the energy packet. These energy packets are also called as the quanta. Single energy packet is called as a quantum, and the um, group of energy packets is called as a quanta. And the third point is that energy of a quantum is directly proportional to the frequency of the oscillating particle. Frequency of the oscillating particle. So E is here we can write this as the E is proportional to nu. Here nu is the frequency of the oscillating particle. E is the energy. So there is a direct relation is there between energy and the frequency. Energy and the frequency. So if we remove the proportionality, we have to put one constant, that is nothing but h. Here h is called as the Planck's constant. H is known as the Planck's constant. Planck's constant. And the value of the Planck's constant is that 6.625 into 10 to the power of minus 28 what is that, erg into second. So the units for the Planck's constants are erg into second or joule into second. Erg into second or joule into second. 6.625 into 10 to the power of minus 27. So that is the value of the Planck's constant. And one more point is that as soon as the quanta are released, they change into the waves. They don't remain as the particles for a long time. They are released in the form of particles or in the discrete amounts, but immediately after they release, they change into the waves. So this is the fourth point is from the classical theory only. So according to classical theory, light has wave nature, no? So that's the same point here is accepted by the Planck. And Einstein completely changed this idea, and Einstein said that the quanta do not change into the waves and they remain in the form of the particles only until they are observed by the other objects or substance. That is the idea added to the Planck's quantum theory by the Einstein. Now by using these postulates, Planck proposed an equation to calculate the energy, and that is E lambda is equal to the 2 phi sec square h by lambda 5 into 1 by e to the power of hc by lambda kt minus 1. So this is the Planck's equation proposed by the Planck. And by this equation, by using this Planck equation, we can reproduce Wien's equation as well as the Rayleigh-Jeans equation. So first of all, we go for the derivation of Wien's equation from the Planck's equation. At lower wavelengths, the e to the power of hc by lambda kt value increases enormously, because here the lambda value decreases, no? As a result, the overall value increases. As a result, what happens, as this value increases enormously, we can forget about the 1, because this value is very high, no? So that's why we can remove this one, and we can, in the place of e to the power of hc by lambda kt minus 1, we can write simply ehc by lambda kt. We can write this only. So as a result, what happens, look here, here where is the, look here, here we have removed the minus 1. As a result, what happens, look here, we get this equation. And when we take lambda 5 to the upside, it becomes minus lambda to the power of minus 5. And this one becomes as the e to the power of minus hc by lambda kt. So if we consider 2 5 sec square by h as one constant c1 and hc by k as another constant c2, then the equation becomes as E lambda is equal to c1 into lambda to the power of minus 5 into e to the power of minus c2 by lambda t. This is nothing but Wien's equation. That means now we are able to reproduce Wien's equation from the Planck's equation. We are able to derive Wien's equation from the Planck's equation. That means Planck's equation changes into the Wien's equation at a lower wavelength. In the similar way, we can derive Rayleigh-Jeans equation from the Planck's equation. At a higher wavelengths, what happens means, here EHC by KT can be written as the 1 plus HC by lambda KT plus 1 by 2 into HC by lambda KT whole to the power of 2 and plus 1 by 3 into HC by lambda KT whole to the power of 3. Like that we can write. But at higher wavelengths, HC by KT value becomes very small, so that we can write e to the power of HC by lambda KT as 1 plus HC by lambda KT, because the HC by lambda KT value itself becomes very small, so there will be no meaning for the other terms like this, other times. So as a result, we can write EHC by lambda KT as the 1 plus HC by lambda KT. So as a result, what happens? In the place of EHC by lambda KT, we can write this term. So we can strike off the plus 1 and minus 1. As a result, what happens here? It becomes 1 by HC by lambda KT. So on striking out the lambda and lambda, that equation becomes as the 2 5 CKT by lambda 4. So this is nothing but again Rayleigh-Jeans equation. That means now we are able to derive the Rayleigh-Jeans equation at higher wavelengths. So the same Planck equation changes into the Wien's equation as well as the Rayleigh-Jeans equation. It becomes Planck's equation becomes Wien's equation at lower wavelengths, and Planck's equation becomes Rayleigh-Jeans equation at higher wavelengths. Like that, we can change the Planck's equation. So that's why Planck quantum theory become very popular because Planck's theory is able to explain the graphs completely. Now once again we try to recollect the postulates of the quantum theory, that energy is released by the objects in a discontinuous manner in a discrete amount, and each amount here is called as the energy packet, and energy packet is also called as the quantum. And the energy is released by the oscillations of the charged particles. These charged particles are nothing but electrons. And one more point we will remember, that the energy of the quantum is directly proportional to the frequency of the oscillating particle frequency. That means E is proportional to nu. So if you remove the proportionality, we have to put one constant, that is H. H is known as the Planck's constant. And next point is that as soon as the electron quanta are released, they change into the waves. So these are the postulates of the Planck's quantum theory. And by using these postulates, he was able to explain and he was able to derive the equations that are able to explain the graphs observed in the black body radiations.